Hi, folks. Andrew here, Top Fitness Strategies. Yes, I am the face who runs the place. And today we have another special guest. This is something out of the ordinary for me because this is coming from the other side of the world. That's right. If you didn't know, I am in Indiana in the United States, and the guest I'm having is from Australia, and he'll tell you more about that once we get him on. And this is also special to me because I've never had somebody with this kind of pedigree, if you will, on here. And you'll understand what I'm talking about just when I bring him on in a second. So my guest today is Paul Blackburn. He's the founder and CEO of QuantumOrange.com. It's a professional development training. He's an internationally acclaimed author and leader in the human potential movement. Paul has taught more than 400,000 people on 4 continents how to reach their potential and professional potential during 38 years of his success coach, an author, an instructor, and keynote speaker. Paul has trained over 350 life business coaches, held one of the world's largest fire walks, was appointed to the Australian government to its business advisory panel, and is a partner in a multi-million-dollar business operating in over 100 companies. And also, I got this from his website. He says he's just a regular guy who's been married to the love of his life for 46 years. He has 2 amazing daughters and 2 grandkids who he is obsessed with. Now, on top of all that, Paul, you can say you're a guest on Top Fitness Strategies. Welcome, Paul.
There you go. Thank you. This is going to be a professional high for me.
I'm telling you, when I read your bio, like you work for the Australian government, right away I'm thinking, I got James Bond coming on here. What the heck? I've never talked with anybody on my interviews that worked with the government, let alone one outside of the
Well,
United
not specifically the government, but in the advisory board that it tells the government this would be a good thing to do. Usually they ignore it. Like all governments, you give them the advice and they chuck it in the bin and do what they wanted to do anyway. I think the purpose of the advisory board is if they happen to agree with the advisory board, then they say, we're just doing what the board said. When they don't agree, we're a bunch of nobodies. So
government's all the same all over the place. No problem there. Okay,
yeah,
for the
yeah.
folks who are just tuning in, the Top Fitness Strategies, my company, it's all about the fitness over 50 crowd. And how Paul and I got together is I'm on a Facebook page where we basically share information about podcasts, interviews, and so on and so forth. And somebody reached out to me on Paul's behalf and say, hey, Paul would be a great fit for your podcast. I looked into him a little bit. I'm like, oh my word, this would be fantastic. Personal development training is a lot of what I have to do or what I talk with my clients about. And I know I'm talking a lot right now, Paul, because first of all, it's my show, so I'm going to at the beginning, but everything's going to come to you here in just a second. So I tell you what, go ahead and do your intro, tell people who you are, where you come from, and all that good stuff. And then I got some major questions I want to ask you.
Well, we'll get to the questions as quick as we can. I think you've said enough about me. I don't really like intros, because you've got to live up to them. But I've been in the personal development field or the mindset field for 39 years, and that means a lot of experience. I'm 71 years old myself, and I'm the fittest I've ever been. And that literally picking up heavier weights in the gym. My fitness tracker told me that I ran the fastest mile I've ever run about a week ago. So, and I'm the body weight that I want to be. I'm in the shape that I want to be. I'm normally up on my paddleboard because we live on the water. So I'm normally on my paddleboard 6 a.m. for an hour or so. And that's really not so much exercise, but mental space. I really enjoy that. Of course, it contributes to the fitness, but the gym does more than that. And I'm pretty careful about what I eat. And that probably means I've got a little bit to say to your clients in terms of I'm old enough, I'm cranky enough, I've been through enough injuries and hurts and damage, and I've been fat and or overweight, as people would say, out of shape, if you want to use those words. So been there, done that, and worked out a few answers along the way.
Well, that's
not just
great.
for me, but for currently I have a class of about a dozen postmenopausal women who are getting individual coaching from me in a group setting, and they're all looking to lose 30 kilos by Christmas because they need to. They will probably, if they do lose the 30 kilos, they'll still be 20 kilos overweight. So significant goals that they want to reach. But, that's the kind of field that I've got a bit of experience in, which probably sounds just like your clients.
A lot of it does. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what I want to get into more with you is the personal development training, because when I hear that,
Yep.
or when, at least for me, you don't think of the physical aspect of things. You think about somebody who is, at least I do, has mental blocks and things of that sort. I know now, after being in the fitness world as long as I have, that personal development training is a lot more than just overcoming an obstacle to get something. It's a lot more internal, a lot more emotional. Like you said, mindset has a lot to do with this. Am I on track with that?
Definitely, mate. What we see is that the physical aspect of training is not that difficult. If you like to swim, well, get in the pool. If you like to ride your push bike, well, get on your bloody bike. It's kind of pretty simple and pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Of course, what stops us is what's going on between our ears. So most people are massive procrastinators because, the funny thing about what I notice is to get fit, to get in shape, you're going to have to establish some new habits. And habits are mindset, because when we're in a bad habit, usually we are in a bad habit of doing something which changes our mindset. So most human beings never really look at it or reverse engineer it. But as a species, we are mood altering humans. What we do is, if we don't feel good, we have a chocolate. If we've just been in an argument with someone, then we go and talk to a friend about it, or we have a drink, or we have something to eat. Most people eat emotionally rather than eat logically. And so if we only ever ate logically, then we'd all be fit and healthy. There'd be no smokers, there'd be no drinkers. If logic worked, everybody would be fit and healthy and everything would be fine. But what happens is that, you can say to someone, you can say to a smoker, do you understand that that is a very expensive way of killing yourself early in a lot of pain? And they'll say yes and reach for another cigarette, because the cigarette is a response to a compulsion. And for many people, food is a response to a compulsion. The compulsion, I'm sure I'm not talking in an echo chamber when I say, have you ever eaten compulsively? Have you ever eaten something while you were saying to yourself, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat this, and boom, in it goes. Or drink, or whatever it is. And so until we understand and know how to work with the mindset, then we're hoping willpower will overcome everything. And we usually got a track record that says that willpower will do no such thing. And so most of us have got a track record of falling off the wagon at some point, disappointing ourselves, and thinking, everybody else has got willpower and I don't.
Mm-hmm. Now, and let's stay on that topic, because you just hit on something, and I just wrote this down. And you probably hear this a lot more than I do. People say, well, I don't have willpower. Well,
yeah.
How do you overcome that? Or I guess overcome is not the right word. How do you combat's not the right word either. How do you let them know that, yeah, you have the ability and you have the willpower, if I'm even saying that right?
Okay. Well, I get what you're saying is, most people say when they were handing out willpower, I was standing behind the door and I didn't get any. And I say, well, good, because you actually don't need willpower. Willpower is the last thing you need, because if you are having to force a change, then you're going to have to keep forcing the change. So what I like to say to my clients is, if you're low on willpower, that's fine. Let's look at it from this point of view. What you are high on, if you're low on willpower, you must be high on being emotionally driven. And therefore, when you wake up in the morning and you're supposed to go to the gym and it's warm and it's, all snuggly inside your bed, then, we kind of go, well, why wouldn't I stay here? That is a natural decision. Now, the problem is procrastination can win when you just do nothing. So most people run into trouble because there are some habits that win if you just do nothing, right? Like you can doom scroll on Facebook forever. All you have to do is do nothing. But what we're doing is we're being passive. And so I say, rather than willpower, what you need to do is have a look at, what do I want long term? And so what I want to do is stay in bed in the morning and stay warm and snuggled up, all of that sort of stuff. And I want to go out there in the cold and the rain and do that hard work. That's what I want now. But what do I want long term? Well, I have grandchildren and I want to be at their wedding, mate. So that means I have to stay alive. And I'm going to stay alive. I'm going to have to get some kilos off my body. I'm going to have to be in better shape. And that means going to the gym. So I don't go to the gym for me. And, you know, I don't go to the gym because I like it. You know, I have a lot of people say to me, oh, the gym's boring. I go, listen, mate, you don't go there for entertainment. You go there to grind it out and get fit, man. So, what happens is we get into the moment of what I want now, which is, oh, it feels like it's hard, you know, like, oh, look, there's this TV show, I can just watch that, or I can Facebook, or I can have something to eat, or whatever. That's what I want now. But what I want now should not be allowed to dominate what I want long term. And as soon as you switch your mind onto, yes, but what do you want over the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years? Then if you want to be alive, then what you'll do is the things that involve being alive. You would make this decision quite easily if you're in a war-torn situation. You would do what kept you alive. And yet, because we have plenty of time, we think, you know, most humans in Western cultures like ours walk around feeling like they're going to run out of money tomorrow and live forever. But the reality is, the day that you die, you've run out of time and there'll be some money left over and your kids will get it. And by the way, they'll probably blow it. But the reality is, we think we're going to live forever, when in actual fact, time is a very finite, very definite, very limited thing. You know, if you look at time in terms of how long we've been on the planet, then if you drew a line from left to right, across a page and said, this is how long mankind has been on the planet, we are less than the thickness of a piece of paper. Our lifespan, our 70, 80, 90 or 100 years is, you know, a fraction. It's a brief window, and it's a very definite thing, and we don't value that. We value money, and so we say, oh, my money, I've got to be careful with that. And a lot of people spend a lot of time working on their investment strategies, assuming that they've got some to invest, because not everybody does.
Right.
But we will take a lot of time and care with our money and not with our body. And yet this is you know, we call our body your earth suit. And, you know, you're only on the planet as long as you look after the suit. If it springs a leak, you're in trouble, mate.
I never thought of it like that. I like that. An earth suit. I like that.
Yeah. It's the equipment you need to stay on the planet. And most people mistreat it.
Okay, so go ahead.
I'm just going, most people mistreat it, and yet it's the vehicle. You know, you are not the body that you are residing in. You know, the body is a vehicle, and so you get to stay on the planet as long as the vehicle is operational. But we do things that just mess it up. You know, if you're overweight, you know, I'm talking to all the people who are overweight. Every kilo creates another kilometer of capillaries that your heart has to pump that blood for that extra kilometer. And, you know, if you are the right weight, then all of your blood vessels will go around the circumference of the world twice already, let alone adding 20 or 30 kilos to that. So if we don't take care of the vehicle, then, and if you compare it to a motor car or a truck or whatever, then essentially you can run it too hard and too fast. So burn the candle at both ends. That's the equivalent of driving your car too fast, too far, without looking after it, without bringing it in for a rest or servicing it. If you park it in the shed and don't use it, or I should say, park your ass on the lounge and watch the TV, but if you park the car in the shed and don't use it, it'll rust. And if it rusts, then it won't work very well. And then if you don't give the car decent rest, meaning sleep, then it's going to come apart as well. So, you know, the car analogy works pretty well.
I love that. I love that. And I tell people all the time, I said, the human body is designed to move. It's designed to, you know, run, walk, bend, push, pull. It's designed to do anything but sit on the couch and watch TV all day. I love your analogy about the car rusting out. I love that. I never thought about that before, but that's spot on. So yeah, you and I have
the way that we talk about it is our ancestry, our genetics comes from us wandering around in the jungle looking for food. That
Mhm.
means your average human being 10,000 years ago was on their feet all day looking for food.
Yeah.
And if you were hungry, yes, you would be on your feet looking for food. Because food comes to us in packets, we don't have to go looking for it. So we sit on our ass and we get fat. And people wonder why they got a lard ass. And I'd say, yeah, it's because the food is too plentiful and you don't have to work to get it.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
you know, we say, oh, an hour in the gym is a lot. And I'd say, bullshit, that's not a lot. You know, we used to be on our feet 8 to 10 hours a day. 1 hour is kind of probably, you know,
Mhm.
undercooking it.
Yeah. Well, see, what I tell people is 3 to 5 times a week, 30 to 45 minutes a day, do something physical activity in a conscious
Yeah.
way. In other words, some sort of workout, whether it be walking, whether
Yep.
it be lifting, riding a bicycle, working out at a gym, do something. And if you can't find
Yep.
that 3 to 5 times a day, 30 to 45 minutes, you're doing life wrong. In my opinion,
Yes.
if that makes sense, you're
Yes.
doing life wrong. I mean, if you can't find the time, then we need to figure out how you can find the time to get you so you can have more time later on, like you said, with your grandkids or whatever you
Yeah.
want to do. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the numbers in the US are the same as they are in Australia, and that is that for 65, like the biggest killer in Western cultures is heart attack or heart disease.
Yes.
So I'm sure the numbers are similar there than they are here. For 65% of people who suffer from heart disease, you know what the first symptom is?
No.
Death.
I know that wasn't supposed to be a
65%.
joke, but you caught me off guard. Like, okay. The first
So if you
symptom.
ain't got time to the gym, don't worry. You don't have to pay till the end, but you know, you will not be able to get out of that. So, you know, I use that as my motivator when I'm lying in bed in the morning and I don't want to get out of bed because it's warm and it's raining out there. I think to myself, I don't want to be like, I've got friends who are dead, mate. You know, like I'm 71 years old. I started as
Mhm.
a high school teacher in the New South Wales education system, and I've got people who pass away, and you know, we consider that normal. But I plan on being 100 or so and being able to cook my own food, live in my own house. I study longevity, and the number one indicator of how long you're going to live is grip strength. And you don't build grip strength, you know, you don't need grip strength in terms of survival in life. Grip strength is a indicator of how strong the rest of your body is. And so the number one indicator is grip strength and body weight. And so the skinny people live longer and the fat people live shorter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I did a video on this, and I wrote an article on this about a year ago. It says you don't see any older fat people, and I know the word fat maybe offended some people, but people who tune into my show, my thing, my videos, they know that being politically correct. I don't even know how to spell PC, so I'm not. We're not worried about
Yeah, same here, mate. Same here.
that. So, what are your going back to the quantumorange.com, which I read through there? It's and very love the website. It's a great site, by the way. One of
Thank
the
you.
things that you talked about on there, and you mentioned a second ago, is motivation. Okay,
Yep.
I and I've been saying this for years. And tell me if I'm on the right track with this. My philosophy is I cannot motivate anybody to get off the couch. They got to do that themselves. Once they get off the couch, that's where I come in as a trainer, and I can do wonders for them or help them do wonders. But the initial
Yep.
motivation, I can't do anything for them. Is that how you perceive it as well? Does that make sense?
Yeah, we agree that as professionals, all we can do is give you help and advice about what works once you're moving. We
Mhm.
we work in a much more general field. For us, weight loss is maybe 10% of our clients. Um, the rest of our clients are people who want to get over procrastination, or they're experiencing self doubt, or they want to learn how to meditate, or they need to get on a new diet or exercise program, or they're staying up too late watching TV, or they just want to get the next promotion at work, with those kind of things. And what we say is that you'll have to come up with your own reason. And if you can't find your own reason, then you haven't looked at a big enough picture. like I said, I want to be around at the wedding of my grandchildren who are 6 and 2 years old at the moment. So I'm planning on being here for a fair while. That's my source of motivation. It doesn't have to be anybody else's, but you will have to find what is within you that drives you. Because external motivation, you could go to a 3-day boot camp on motivation, come out of that as excited as, and you get in the car park and someone scratch your car, and that's the end of motivation. So external motivation can be over in 0.3 of a second. So it's useless anyway. So playing loud music and rah-rah, like we call it rah-rah, a lot of that kind of woo, 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 we go, that's great in crowds, that's just fine. It's good, it's exciting. I love to go to the football, 100,000 people in the crowd, it's exciting, but it's not the meaning of life, mate. It's just a bit of entertainment and a bit of excitement.
Oh, yeah.
We have to find the thing that drives us. Now, whether that's, I think, for Christians, it's easy. If you're a Christian, you can say, well, God gave me this body and it's a gift from the highest person on the planet. I ought to look after it. If you don't have that kind of a thing, well, what other reason could you have? Maybe it's your grandchildren. Maybe it's your desire to learn and contribute. Maybe you've got some kind of contribution you can make to your community or your family or your whatever, but it's going to have to come from within. And if you can't find it, then basically you are what we would call depressed, and that's a fairly easy position to fall into, because it's easy for us to look at everything and say it won't work.
I understand that. That makes sense. So this is the question I had written down earlier today, and I think it makes sense right now. Of all the people you've trained and all the training you've done and all the programs you've come up with and taught people.
Yep.
What is there like a common thread, or is there something that's common that holds most people back from I don't want to say meeting their potential, but causing them to be successful, whatever that means to them? Because I believe success means something different to everybody.
Yeah, what I've noticed, like it's taken me, nearly 4 decades to work this out. So I'm about to drop a bit of gold, and I have to say it's a bit of gold because most people don't recognize it as gold. But here we go. I think there are 3 things. First of all, there is, what do I have to think to be successful in the thing that I want to do? What is the thinking process that I need? If I want to stay married to my wife, or my husband, nowadays I have to say my husband. If I want to stay in a long-term relationship for any period of time, what thinking do I need to employ? Because if I don't, then I'm going to kind of think my way out of trouble, or into trouble, so to speak. So the first question is, what to get this target, this goal, the promotion at work, the relationship, the fitness, the health, the happiness, what does my thinking have to look like? Because most of us are not trained in how to think. And so over here, we use an American Indian joke. We talk about the little boy who goes to the Indian chief and says, there's 2 wolves inside of me. One is a positive, supportive, loving wolf, and the other is a nasty, destructive, wants to destroy everything. And there's a battle between them. Which wolf wins? And the chief says, whichever one you feed. That's, to us, a great illustration of whatever you put into your head, whatever you read, whatever you watch, whatever you participate in is going to influence your thinking. And that's where I think social media has an issue. I don't want to bag social media, but we can sit in front of it for hours watching rubbish on the TV, telling ourselves it's rubbish and still watching.
Yes.
So I think 25% of people, or at least 25% of the people that I come across, get blocked in the thinking or the mindset area. They could just think better. And we have programs that help people to think better. But that's only 25% of people. I think the other 25% get blocked emotionally. In other words, this is what I've thought I should do, but I just can't make myself do it. And so that shows up as procrastination or a blockage to doing something. Typically in your category, we're going to talk about going to the gym or getting on the bike or whatever it is. In other words, there's an emotional blockage. We talked about emotional eating, right? I can think that my diet should be planned out. I could actually be on a diet that is well thought out. So there's no problem with the thinking. but the emotional eating is absolutely ruining the process. So I reckon 25% of people get stuck there. So we're talking about 50% of the population are stuck in either mindset or what we call an emotional blockage. But fully 50% of the population are blocked on what to do. In other words, they know what to do, they're just not doing it. And so that's typically for your crowd, that is, I know I need to go to the gym. I can see the benefits of going to the gym. I know that it's going to make me live longer, be happier, healthier, all those sort of things. I just can't make myself do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I know that I need to ring up my mother more often. I just can't make myself do it. I know that I need to do X or Y or Z. I just haven't got around to it. And we'll use peripheral excuses like I haven't got time. But in essence, 50% of people don't need more information. They need a way past the blockage to actually enacting what they already knew. So we say knowledge is not what you do not need more knowledge. You need more implementation of the knowledge that you already have.
I love that. I love that. Okay, and that's going to be a great segue here because I asked for a half hour of your time, and we're coming up to the half hour. So that's going to be a great segue into tell us about what QuantumOrange is and the different programs you guys offer and how people can get in touch with you.
Well, you can get in touch with us via the website, so that's pretty straightforward. But we have, as a consequence of the work that we do, twice a year we run a 21-day habit change challenge. And the purpose of that is to get people into a 3 weeks sequence of doing something every day where they don't actually have to go to the gym, but it's for changing any habit. And so here in Australia, it runs at 7 o'clock in the morning. So we say to everybody, you've got to be here at 7 o'clock in the morning to see the video. And I'll talk for half an hour about some concept or some aspect of personal change and how to do that, because we actually call ourselves habit change specialists, right? That's what we do, is we teach people how to change habits. And so we believe that it takes 21 days to do that. I have 21 pieces of information that you need to be able to do that. So people front up, watch the video. I guess in Indiana, you would be watching a replay of it. But leave that aside for a second. Each of these half hour has a piece of information that is vital to change. What happens is that I say, here's your assignment, and you need to get that done today because there's another assignment tomorrow. So it's 21 assignments go with it as well. They are small enough assignments that you can complete them in 10 to 15 minutes, and you probably don't need a pen and paper. They are thought processes on sometimes thought experiments. If you did this, what would you think? What would you happen? So those assignments, we say, here's your assignment, and you plug it into our system, and it comes to me. And I'll give you feedback. So that's personal coaching from me with your particular habit change activity. And that puts you in the community because you can read everybody else's assignments, comments, questions. So you can read what I'm saying to everybody. So that allows bulk learning. People use that 21-day habit change challenge to overcome self-doubt, establish a meditation routine, get past procrastination, give up cigarettes, alcohol, We've had thousands of people do that program. So if you said, well, typically what do they use it for? They might use it for stopping themselves from watching TV late in the night or eating junk food or getting off some kind of thing. It's not unusual for us to have lots of people who are getting off some addictive substance or activity. It might be workaholic, TVaholic, sexaholic, readaholic, shopaholic, chocoholic. It doesn't really matter what it is.
Right.
We have a process that gets people through that.
So and just make sure I'm understanding this. So this is a 21-day program that you do it online. Is that correct?
Yeah, you do it online with me in a group coaching setting.
Gotcha.
So we just throw everything at it.
Okay. Now, is there any criteria somebody has to have to get in this program?
Well, you have to figure that you're ready. In other words, a major criteria is, have you had enough of not being successful in the way that you measure it or the way that you want to be? Because it's going to take 21 half-hour segments, all right? So, that's 10 hours. It's equivalent of, a day of, a big work day, but it is spread over 3 weeks, so it's relatively gentle. It does cost, so it's $97 to be a part of that program. For your people, it's 47. So, you know, we chatter beforehand. We can make a special offer to your people. So 47 US gets them into the program, and it gets them complete access to me for 21 days, plus a group learning it as it goes along with it. But yeah, we don't mind who it is. You could be a heroin addict and you can make this work, as long as you're willing to stop the heroin for the duration of the program.
There you go. Absolutely. And folks, if you're looking to find out how to do that, you can. I will have a link in the show notes, so check that out. Also, you can go to QuantumOrange.com, and I'll be linking to that in the show notes as well. And my gosh, you said $47. Was that correct?
Yes, I know. It's ridiculous.
Yes, it is. I mean, yes.
But you know, people, we figured people need the chance to try us out to see whether we're a good fit or not. And we actually do have a lot of people who say, well, I looked at it and I thought $47, what can you lose? And I gave it a go, and they have a life-changing experience. And, you know, that's a great introduction for us. You know, it's a great way for us to get to know each other.
So how would that work? For instance, like me being in Indiana, and I think I'm Indiana, United States. It's because it's a little after 5:00 p.m. right now. This is a recording right now.
Yep.
You're was 18 hours ahead of me. Is that how? What am I thinking that right?
Yeah.
Holy moly! How would that work? I mean, because you say
well, essentially, I get up live and do the video 7:00 in the morning here in Australia, on the East Coast.
Right.
And around about 20% of the people who do that program can't get there live because they're shift workers or some other reason. So they just watch the recording. So everybody who registers will get the recording of the video in their email as soon as we can get it loaded up, which is usually an hour or two after gig.
Okay.
We start on the 28th of June. I should have mentioned that. We start, day one is the 28th of June. Now, you want to be kind of locked in and registered a day or two before that, because there is some preparation work that enhances the benefit of the program. So there's plenty of time to do that. But, you know, 28th is day one. And like I said, the video of the recorded session will turn up in their inbox as soon as we get it loaded up.
Okay. And now
about an hour after we do it, it'll be loaded up.
That makes sense. It makes sense. So now for the people who watch or listen to this after the 28th of June, I'm going to assume you do this 21-day workshop multiple times throughout the year.
Yeah, we do it twice a year.
Okay.
So it's not really multiple times. It's kind of like get in and best dressed. But if you hear about it after the 28th, if you're 3, 4, or 5 days behind, then talk to us and we'll catch you up.
No,
well, other than that, we'll put you on the wait list.
I'm talking if they watch or listen to this like 2 or 3 months after the thing. And
contact us. We have a wait list, and generally speaking, when we launch, there's a whole bunch of people who've been on the wait list, and they're just boom straight in. They get early notification.
That sounds like a fantastic program, and it's at QuantumOrange.com. And once you go over there, folks, tell Paul that you heard it from me, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to tell him, that's fine as well. I just want you to get the program, because it sounds like a game changer for whatever you guys want to do. That's fantastic.
It's definitely a game changer. It was inspired by COVID. So we are traditionally classroom teachers. We've only, of the 39 years that I've been doing this kind of work, 36 or 37 of those years have actually been in classrooms. And when COVID turned up, we had to find a new way. This has been revolution. Well, I've got clients who've been with us 30 years who are saying, this is the best program you've ever done, Paul. Why didn't you invent this 30 years ago?
Wow. And, wow. Fantastic.
We can say COVID was a terrible thing, and it was, but there is some good to come out of it. And this is one of the things.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, Paul, I've been going over to 30 minutes here. I appreciate your time, and I know you're a busy guy and everything else. Again, QuantumOrange.com. Check it out, folks. Get over there. Personal development training. Look at this 21-day program that Paul has, and it sounds fantastic. This is going to be great. So, Paul, thank you for being a guest on Top Fitness Strategies. Any parting words you'd like to say to anybody right now?
Well, we live in very difficult times. There's a massive amount of change going on. We're surrounded by the advancing of, artificial intelligence and, what could be a world war in Ukraine with Russia and all those sort of things. There's massive change going on. The more change accelerates, the more we need to get inside ourselves and equip ourselves for that change. Otherwise, we become dinosaurs. And, you can go from rooster to feather duster quicker today than at any other time in the history of the world. We need to stay up to speed.
Rooster to feather duster. I like that. I've never heard of that one before. That's great. So, all right, Paul. Thank you for being here.
Great to meet
folks.
you.
This has been Top Fitness Strategies with my guest, Paul Blackburn from QuantumOrange.com, personal development training. Check it out. Go over there and have fun with it. I'm going to end it here. So, Paul, thanks for being here. My name is Andrew, Top Fitness Strategies. I am the face who runs the place. And so until next time, this is Andrew and Paul.
Bye.
Ciao.